Well, I think as a teenager, I I sensed that, the beginning of a call, uh, but I worked hard to avoid it. And I knew that my relationship with God was important. And I guess I was working at Safeway at the time and knew I didn't want to work at Safeway all my life. And I found out about a Bible school that had a one-year program, so I went there, and eventually I got my degree from there. And and still being an officer wasn't, you know, on my radar. But what I did know is that I wanted to be where God wanted me to be. And I remember I was reading my Bible one morning, and and I just said, "Yes, God, I'll do what you want me to do." And I went upstairs, and my mom and dad were having breakfast, and I said, God's calling me to be an officer. And their response was, "How come it took you so long to figure that out?" For me, the wonderful piece of ministry within the Salvation Army is being able to do it with my spouse. And her calling is very real in itself. Just being in ministry together and being able to feed off each other's strengths, we become a good team. Our children will often talk about the churches that we've been appointed to and the churches that we have farewelled from. So they've never seen that mom and dad are the officers. They'll talk about we are the officers at the church. And in many ways, our children have been a real part of the ministry. On Sunday mornings, all the elderly people were all uncles and aunts and adopted grandpas and grandmas to them. And it was wonderful to see these godly Christian people embracing our kids. And so for us, family time has always been important. And times to sit around the table and laugh, and times to just go out and picnics, and times to be on the water, and times to go for bike rides, and just times to visit extended family. I think one of the things we loved doing was playing games, and so laughter was always a big part of our family. I love teaching the Bible because as God's Word is spoken to His people, people come alive. I think very often as I prepare a sermon, I'm relaying somewhat of what God is teaching me as well. I cannot tell you how much excitement I get from watching people's faith come alive. And sometimes it's people that have said, I've been a Christian all my life, but all of a sudden I've realized that I can have a personal relationship with Jesus. And to be able to journey with a person through that is absolutely delightful. I think if people really believe that God is calling them into officership, they really need to talk to people that love them and care about them, and share that with them. They need to talk to their officer and say, I believe God is calling me to be an officer, and invite those that know them best to pray into that with them. I think in many ways, if you can be totally fulfilled in what you're doing and not being an officer, I'd say keep doing it. But if God really has placed a call on your life, that contentment's not going to be there. If you're living with that knot in your stomach that God is calling you to do something, you just have to surrender. And don't put it off.